up, down, down, left, right, BA, select, start, PCP bonus podcast, go, 99 lives. It's game dev, people. We're doing game development. Have you made games? Do you want to make games? You should. It's fucking fun. I'm Tom. I started talking because I just felt like it. We have Give and Take with us today.
Hey guys, I've made Punk Runaway from Snakes and some various other things that are secret and bad.
All right. Sick. I helped on that. We have Lethal Aurora Mage.
I fiddled with RPG Maker several times, and even I think it was Renpy was called one of those things.
The graphic, visual novel.
The Chad game engines, 100%. We have Nate with us today.
Me and my boy Riggedy Rich back in the day entered a game into a game jam hosted by GameStop called, we changed the name, named Belle. It was named Belle. We did not win, but I made at least one finished game in my life and was working on another one that's a platformer that I will talk about in the show. Oh, and also I worked on a bunch of stuff in college as part of the Game Development Club. There you go.
And of course, the man, the myth, the legend, Ben Sane.
Haha, yes. I made the Champion prequel game, and which is on saintcomics.com. And I wouldn't say that I made Endless War. I was involved in the creation of it to one extent or another.
Is it fair to say that some people think, George Carlin said, maybe the purpose of Earth or the human race was that Earth needed plastic, so it created humans to do so. Perhaps it's the same thing with Endless War. We were merely a vehicle through which Endless War was created on this Earth.
Yes,
it seems legit to me.
I was only the vessel through which the vehicle through which the destination was arrived at.
Flowed.
Yes.
The same way that I think that AI will literally replace humanity before too long and be the true dominant species that spreads throughout the stars.
If only we could be so lucky.
Let me die!
I wish Munchie was here because Munchie is also... Munchie took a similar... Munchie has been more involved in Endless War development lately. I was more involved at the beginning, and then lately I have become less involved and Munchie has become more involved. And it's kind of
a give and take relationship.
I feel like at some point in the future, maybe we'll talk about this. Wait, what? Oh, got it. Maybe we'll cover that in an Endless War lecture lore.
Development commentary?
Yeah. There'll be a lecture at some point. Everyone's been clamoring for a lecture.
Live.
Yeah,
I mean, it's gotten to the point where it's to the outsider looking in, there is a lot of density going on that needs to be
If people
parsed.
like that fucking spirit science or the Kingdom Hearts lore that are convoluted bullshit but really funny, it's exactly the sort of thing that an Endless War lecture
I'm glad
about
that we've
the
created
lore,
what we so love. It's great.
Indeed.
Yeah. It's very epic. It's very dab-worthy.
Indeed. And since everybody said it and I forgot to, I made Azumi and the Vertical Slice. It's up on Newgrounds. There's a full demo coming out soon. Man. It's going to be sick.
Yeah.
How soon is soon? That's a bold statement.
All right. Well, I'm working with a couple people. We're working on sprints right now. I have the planned release date is within a few weeks, but I don't know if we're going to meet it because everyone's...
The game? That can't be
No,
right.
not the game. There's a full demo that's going to have a boss battle and expanded mechanics and things like that.
I guess I should mention that I did fuck around with RPG Maker back in the day, when I was in college.
Didn't we all?
I fucked around. I fucked around and I made the first level of what was going to be Christian Weston Chandler's Adult Chronicles, which was the game that he at the time would make the game that was supposed to be his life story. And it was the story of the autobiographical game and so I made the first level of it, which was the mall where he fights against senior, not senior married comic, the Jerkeef, yes. So I also fucked around in RPG Maker is my point. But this was a long time ago and probably 8 editions ago.
How many of you got into a RPG Maker thing and you're thinking, okay, I'm gonna actually make an RPG. You open the item thing and then you make a bunch of items and then you stop.
Yeah. I did some of that.
I guess I'm the only one here who's never used RPG Maker.
I think so.
RPG
damn.
Maker was fun.
I've
I-
missed out apparently.
I actually was making one of those semi-horror games rather than RPG with the RPG Maker.
Like a You May Nikki, which is a
yeah, something like that. Yeah.
You mean Nikki was made an RPG Maker?
I
right?
tried.
I think so.
I tried learning ActionScript back in the day to do Flash games, like in Flash MX 2004. But tutorials were not what they were today, so it was very hard to get into, and I'm retarded.
I forgot. Fucking Belle, the biggest finished game, was literally made in RPG Maker.
Yeah.
I completely forgot.
Also, id. It was very popular back in the day. I remember.
It's software.
Right.
Wait, no,
Like-
you mean Ib? IB?
Ib. Yeah.
Ib was great.
I've never heard of that.
It's pretty cool.
Intellectual property.
It's
Well,
like
let me
a
see.
it's like a horror kind of game.
Yeah.
If
It's
anybody
it's a
wants
game.
to play,
I thought it was an engine.
No.
If anybody, so
It's
let
a
me just
game
say, if
made in
anyone wants to play Belle, we'll put a link in the description. I did a Twitch full Let's Play of it with Rich, the guy who worked with me on the game, and we played through the whole game. And there's download links to the files on that. So Belle available down below. And you know, let me just say, before I forget, there was another game I made at another game jam. It was called Monochrome, which is like a Tetris-y kind of game. It was pretty sick. Always wanted to make an app out of it. Started work on that, but never finished it. And that was another game jam thing we made before Belle. I will also see if I can find the link to that because it's also playable and pretty cool.
It probably bears mentioning that we all know Devu, who made Atominous. Was that made in RPG Maker or
No,
game?
I did that in Py
No.
Game. I believe.
iGame? I never heard
Py
of it.
Game. PY Game.
Oh.
I think it's a Python.
Did you guys play Autonomous?
I did.
I loved Atomic.
It was
We all
super.
loved
It was super good. Yeah, it was like a really good game. I mean, it was
it was
small,
such a good
but-
first project. 'Cause,
Yeah,
like,
for a first game project, like forget
Right.
about it. Like,
Like, the
10,
scope-
like really good.
it was such a perfect decision for scope because there wasn't a lot to like actually build per se in terms of like having to create like AI and things like that. But it took like such a common trope of like examining objects and made a whole game around it. It was just like such a brilliant way of doing a first game that did not like have scope creep. So shout out for
I
Devu.
think he's working on his next one. I think.
Wait,
but, I
when
mean,
was the last time any of us heard anything from Devu?
a long time?
when was Autonomous
I'll get
released
a
again?
message, but
That was the last time.
a year
Gotta be
ago,
more than a
maybe?
year ago. Yeah.
The last time Devu and I were in correspondence was not that long ago, but we didn't really talk about anything. He just responded
Yeah.
to a question I had posted a few months ago, and he was like, "Dang, I keep not getting around to these things, lol."
Too busy living that real life. Being
Atominous was
Good.
Wait,
back
I'm just
to us
trying to
on that.
remember when it was.
had to be late 2017, early 2018. Or no. Early
Link
2019.
in the description. Regardless,
Yeah, we will link it.
Regardless.
For sure.
Fine.
Yes.
Absolutely worth playing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know.
Very
You want
well.
to talk about our our histories of stuff?
Yes,
Our,
I wanna
development,
hear
what kind of-
about your
I'll-
grandchildren.
just if we're
that
talking about what engines we made, and I just want to say that the Champion our prequel game was made in Game Maker Pro Studio. Is there a Game Maker Pro?
There's Game Maker Studio. I don't know if
yeah,
there's-
yeah. It was made in Game Maker Studio. And then Endless War is just like fucking raw Python. Just and nothing
Hardcore.
else. Yeah.
Hardcore. The hardest of cores.
Okay.
I
Just
really-
You might say that
just
them
putting my credentials
snakes
out there.
is the foundation of Endless War. You know, Python.
Oh yes,
Oh,
yes.
no.
Of
Oh,
course.
I
He's been in
tried-
charge this whole time.
Many Pythons.
I tried very fruitlessly to make an Endless War clone. I got to a point where I could have a program running on my computer, and I could type in my own Discord, like get blood, and it would say you have blood, but there was no numbers involved.
There are. It's
I thought you were gonna make a mud-based one.
it's
that
relatively
was,
Well,
simple
there's
to
blood
make it-
and mud. There's
It's relatively simple to
Yeah.
make a Discord bot that will respond to commands, but like the challenge, the real challenge of Endless War is like the keeping track of like player information,
The
which
database.
which required
Can't
interaction
imagine.
with the database, which I had. There was no chance I was going to figure out how to do that, so that's why Crack had to step in and basically was like the actual like
whiz
person
kid.
behind.
It's funny, like all the things I've done for Azumi games so far, like the most complicated thing was getting a dialogue system that would work from a database. I had to make like a 3D array that had like all the entries and stuff in there, and then make a function that would pull things from the array, and it took like forever to figure out, but I felt like a literal god when it finally worked. It was like
Yeah.
the most untouchable moment of my life.
Yeah.
I did a lot of work with databases in my professional work back when I was a programmer full time. Perhaps one day I will be so again. But yeah, I'm really smart. Is the point.
If you're in this podcast, you are smart because
If you're listening, you knew well that your $5 would be well spent on the Pro Crastinators bonus podcast episodes. So salute to you. You're the only one smarter than us, clearly.
yeah.
Yeah.
What do you
like,
know about video games?
You might like doing the actual like graphics and stuff like for the champion game. Doing the graphics was not that hard. It was it was fiddling with like the logic of the game to make it like work.
Bug
was
fixing is like 80%.
Yeah,
game
it's so annoying.
It's
It
the worst.
sucks.
Like, it should be working, but it's not. It's just the mantra. It never ends. There's always something. Like, even to this day, there's a bug that's been in the game since the beginning that I cannot fix, and I do not know why. And I've showed it to other people, and they're just like, "Oh no, dude." I'm like, "Well, fuck. Okay."
It'd be like that sometimes.
You want to say
really
what it
be.
is? I'm kind of curious.
So
I am as well.
there are certain
Yeah.
there's a state machine set up for both the player character and for the enemies. And one of the states is the hit state, and that's where it calculates all the damage and runs through like the animations and stuff. It's not really done the right way because I found out later every function's supposed to have like a singular thing, and I didn't set up there because I'm an idiot. But so this happens sometimes if a hitbox grazes an enemy hitbox but doesn't immediately collide with it, the enemy will just freeze in place until you hit them again. And there is no reason why this should be happening. But it just does, and I have not figured it out. It's been 6 months, and
Dude,
I've been
make
trying
that make that a feature.
I wish it's just not controllable enough to be a feature. It seems to happen
Oh.
at random, so it's just like
see.
sometimes it happens. And so
There's
what
a
I did
ghost
is
in that
I
machine.
destroyed the entire logic and rebuilt it again from the ground up, and the same thing happened. So I don't know what it is.
No.
So that was
sounds
like
that sounds like
5
some,
hours of
some
rebuilding.
deep like game engine logic that
It's
is
right. Like it could be a bug because like one of the things I was having an issue with was landing on a platform with a certain behavior attached to it, and it wouldn't function properly. Like it would include it as a jump, and the character get locked in a jump state because it never landed technically. And I was working on that for hours, and then I went into the Discord server like, oh, this looks like a bug with the engine. Submit a bug report. I'm like, oh.
Just out of curiosity
okay.
on that point,
What
how do
engine-
you detect like a landing? Is it like object collision or is it like ray tracing or what do you do for?
Well,
that
I'm
shit?
using a baby game engine called Construct 3, which uses event sheets instead of like raw coding. They just added JavaScript so you can combine them both, but they just have they have behaviors, which is like I don't understand why every game engine doesn't use behaviors, just because like they're already like having things like there's like capsule shapes and stuff for collisions and stuff, but behaviors are just like you apply them to an object and it gives it a preset of conditions. So like for example, I have a whole video actually on IM Games that like you make a Mario clone in like 15 minutes. So like from start to finish, you can like go through and set it up and make a Mario character that moves around just like Mario does in like the NES games. But you just click on the sprite and you just give it a behavior called platformer, and it runs and it jumps and it has collisions detected.
Yeah.
And then
That's-
What? What?
No, I was just gonna say that sounds very similar to a game engine I used to use called Multimedia Fusion, where
Yeah, that's a
instead
popular
of
one.
instead of full code, it's just like you assign pre written code things, but spoken in English so you can understand
Right.
what you're doing.
That's pretty much the idea behind this.
Game Maker Studio had the thing where there were functions. You could go in and like define and write code in because it uses its own like pseudo code language. Game Maker GML. Yeah. You could basically like make sort of like a flow chart of blocks, and you had like functions that you could just sort of add to the logic chain, just like click and drag them in. And you could also add in blocks that just contain custom code. I started building the champion game in with the blocks, and like everything that went wrong later, like every bug was like just a result of these blocks like not working properly. Like in the end, I wished that I had just like gone in with like custom code for every block because it was like way less shitty and buggy.
I mean, raw code's easier to debug because it's all right there. You know, if there's a bug with like the platform or behavior in construct, for example, like there's nothing I can do about it. Like you're just fucked. So
The secret to my success is that I have a little brother who went to university for
Slave
coding,
labor.
game making, and he is very, very smart and very good at it. So he works exclusively in code and in Unity and things. And I see him work,
C#
and I'm
boy.
like, he's like on the keyboard, and I'm like, whoa,
My-
whoa.
Yeah, yeah.
And when there's a bug.
Yeah.
It will highlight the thing that is not, it doesn't like resolve here, and it's like, oh, you can instantly see what is, if there's something
Right.
broken.
Yeah,
If something
yeah.
isn't working as intended, he still needs to look. But it's very easy if you can organize, because you can organize it exactly however you feel is the best way to see everything. And he's
Much
yeah.
Another
Much
engine.
like you, Gib. Sorry, when I was making the real full game I finished Belle, working with my buddy Rich. Rich was also a hacker genius, program machine man, and I too got to be the coveted idea guy, doing level
Oh, yeah.
designs, and that's the place you want to be in a game development
It's the
environment.
ultimate place. You were the Hideo Kojima of Belle.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean,
the story
all the
was his
credit,
idea.
none of the work.
You know, I really was the Hideo Kojima because the level design was all me, and coming up with like specific game mechanics. It was in RPG Maker,
It's-
so a lot of it was like interacting with
I
objects
like
and
can't
hitting switches.
do level design. That's where I've been stuck this
Oh,
entire
it's where
time.
it's all where I want to be. And
Because I'm just
you know,
all about designing the mechanics. Like I'm like autistically obsessed with like the game feel, and that's what I've
that's
been
the
working
thing.
on constantly. It's just like
Yeah,
the hits
I've
have to
really
feel
been trying
perfect.
to. In my thinking about games in general, this has been on my mind a lot lately because like that exact conundrum. Like, okay, for you designed the entire movement mechanics and all that stuff. Like until that stuff is decided, you kind of can't make
Right.
levels, or at least not finish levels. Whereas a level designer is handed mechanics by like the game developer originally and says, okay, make levels for this character. Man, that's easy. If it's just said, this is what it is, make levels for this.
I mean,
that's
it
fucking
should
easy
be
shit.
easy, but my brain just doesn't come up. Like it's interesting.
We should collab on this. I
We
can
should.
help you out.
We should, because working on this game, I've like realized, like I think about all the
Mm-hmm.
games I've played. I'm like, I don't know anything about the levels. I just like my brain just doesn't even acknowledge the level. It's just like if a game was just me being in a room
Mm-hmm.
killing things, like I'm totally like that's fine. Like I don't care
Yeah.
about level design at all. I don't pay attention to it. I don't
Oh,
absorb
that's
any
all
of
I
it.
care about. That's all I care about.
You know,
All right,
the-
clearly we need to combine our powers.
I think so.
I've been thinking, like, I've always thought, like, when I used to play games as a child, I would, just play them and have fun. And then when I came to make, the first few baby games in Multimedia Fusion, you could easily make Mario clones, easily make platformers and stuff. And I was like, well, now that I got a guy and I know how he jumps, what the hell do I put on the screen? It just seems to be like a random, you just put a block and then you see how far you can jump, and then you put a block in the next area where you can
Yep.
jump, and then maybe put a ladder so you can go up. I don't know why, you just put a ladder
Right.
there.
'Cause it feels good to climb ladders.
I just
Yeah,
don't know
but,
what
like,
makes levels fun. Like that's like
It's-
it feels like such an arcane art, and I've read like some articles on like Gama Sutra and stuff, and it's just like
Excuse me.
make them challenging. I'm like, okay.
I know I mentioned this in an episode recently. I think it was the main PCV, but like there's a chart on V that floats around that's like how to make a 10 out of 10 for GameSpot or whatever, and it's just like have a 2D platformer, like have mechanics. It's like making fun of games, kind of like what's that one where you climb the mountain
Instant
as the
death
girl?
spikes ever Celeste.
It's Celeste, that's the one. And it's just all you do is you put platforms. Yeah, like you go through, it's like in Mario Maker. You just put platforms at the farthest possible point you can make any given jump while doing the most things. And then it doesn't matter what the path is. You just make it like as precise as one can possibly do. Let them do it 1,000 times until they get it perfectly. And boom, you got yourself a 10 out of 10. Put a depressed girl as the main character. That's an 11 out of 10 game right there.
Damn.
You've done it.
All right.
Yeah.
no win.
And fly off the shelves.
I have been like through watching a lot of Mario Maker videos, just people playing them and other people making them, and like the most difficult levels. There was this guy, I think he's called Sieve Gaming, who I think he's got a really nice German accent.
Girlfriend?
Oh,
okay.
yeah. I'm gonna steal that girlfriend. No, I'm gonna steal that princess. No, he makes like ridiculously in-depth videos about how to break Mario Maker and like how to calculate certain and create an impossible lock system that would be impossible to break and things like that. But he's also done videos trying to not touch a bunch of coins in Mario, and those are fun.
Right.
But by watching all those sorts of things, you get a sense of like what like Nintendo, like the difference between Nintendo and the general public is in creating the Mario levels and the design sensibilities. It feels like in the Nintendo games they definitely have a theme and like a feeling for what the level is supposed to evoke, like a chapter of a book. And the way that you have the ups and downs, and you have the nice happy beginning, and then the sort of tumultuous middle, and the triumphant end. Like you thinking of levels as like narrative experiences rather than just gauntlets, which some things are. The Bowser levels are usually just gauntlets, and you're sort of encouraged to constantly be on the move, otherwise you'll die, and it's sort of like frantic in that way. And there's lots of things you can pick up on. But yeah, I've never really tried doing the level design stuff myself, but if I were to, I would have a lot more. YouTube and game analysis is so rampant, so all over the place. There's lots of ways that you can like study up.
Here's the racket. You make your shitty game and then tear it apart on your video game analysis YouTube channel.
No,
rack up the millions of views.
That's not even
perfect cycle.
untrue. It's like writing a script. Like you write the first draft so that it exists, and then you look at it, you analyze it, and it's like, okay, why does this suck? Why does this part suck? Oh, that sucks. Get rid of that. Make this longer, make this shorter, and then you refine it. But you can't analyze and critique and shit on it if it doesn't exist. If you don't have a level to critique, it's difficult to make it better. And so if you're looking at a blank canvas, it's like, just put a funk of platforms here and there. It's like, I don't know, fucking know. And then after that, you'll figure out what you need to make it the most satisfying.
This discussion reminds me of my favorite game developer of all time, Yandere Dev, known developer of video games,
the legend,
professionally,
the man,
for
the
the
myth.
Longest period of time. I kind of feel like even I am too mean to that guy sometimes, because it seems sounds patronizing, but it is hard to make a video game, and he's a one-man team,
sure,
and he feels
he's a one-man team by choice already. Now.
Yeah, okay, but to him, everything seemed. There's this guy Yandere Dev. He's making Yandere Simulator, but the thing is, he's also been chronicling it on YouTube, the process, and he got very popular. But the game is still not out, and it's been 6 years or 7 years or something,
and
it doesn't even look very different. There's very little progress.
He's being really mean to people who are trying to help.
He is kind of.
He can be mean. He can
got
be
a
mean.
bit of a stick up his ass.
He's being a yandere himself.
Well, kinda. I just kind of feel like it's with that guy. We don't need to spend too long on this guy, but it's just I think he's dug himself into a hole where he knows that the project is not done enough, and he enjoyed the high of riding on people being interested in the incomplete version, but now that's over. Now they're okay, where's the game? Wow, you're still making this game?
Right.
And he can't just snap his fingers and make it done. He's still forced to work on this game, and at this point, even if he fucked up in the past, I don't know, I just kind of feel bad for the guy, and I hope he gets out of it somehow.
Memes into the game.
Is that such a sin, Mage? Is that wrong?
You can't expect.
If it comes at the cost of the game getting done on its time frame, then yeah, it is.
Well,
Dude, do you remember Double Rain Boom? Do you remember when they put the fucking epic troll face in the cloud?
I do. That was simply epic.
Legendary.
My dude.
There was a troll face in the cloud?
Yeah.
In Double Rainbow,
and then the explosion,
the super huge My Little Pony animation that a guy was trying to start his career from.
I remember Double Rainboom. I don't remember the troll face. But
there was a troll face, and people pointed out, and it's like, what the fuck? He's like, hey, it's funny, right?
I mean, is that such a crime that he loves the troll face? Come on.
It's fine.
Let him do it.
No, it's a crime. I think he needs to get an arrow in the knee for that one.
That's fair. That's fair.
All right, so I wanted to go back quickly to something that Gabe was talking about with the Mario levels and how the design between Nintendo and Mario Maker is different. There's I was on a podcast with M. Strange, legendary filmmaker / game developer guy, and he was talking to me about how Nintendo, the guy who does the level design for the new Mario games, actually follows some Japanese principle. I think it was Kisho Tenketsu or whatever.
Okay.
And it's an idea that's
Kisho, God bless you for that one.
it's taken from 4-panel comics, and he applies the idea to level design, where you introduce a concept, you expand on the concept, then you invert it, and then add a challenge. So all the level designs are built in this 4 panel sort of
really
structure, where they,
Okay.
and so like if you look at like everything from like Mario Galaxy onward that the guy was involved with, like all the levels work, and like they introduce the obstacle in a safe environment, and then they have you tackle it. Then they change it somehow. They either like invert it, or they add to it, or do something different to it, and force you to kind of like learn how it actually functions and not just how it was flatly presented. And then the final part of the level is like a challenge that takes all those skills and combines them together.
Oh, you know what a great example of that is Thomas Was Alone. If you've ever played that.
I've not
I
played
vaguely
that.
remember.
It is
the game.
It is a game about a very simple game narrated by some guy with a British accent that's pretty nice. But it's about a Thomas, which is a rectangle, red rectangle, and he meets a
I've
bunch of
played
different
this.
rectangles on his adventure, and you can switch between them. And there's each level you have to get to the end. You have to get everyone to their specific endpoint, and there's a narrative that plays through with the narrator. But basically, gameplay-wise, what is happening is that you're introducing all these different characters and how they jump and how they move and how, you learn what abilities they have. And once you've been introduced to all of their different abilities, you put them together and you have to try and use each other. Like, there was this one where the green one has opposite gravity. And so if you stand on top of, if you make the green one jump and then switch to the other one and jump on top of the green one, you now have like a floating platform that you can like move each other. Like, it's the different like ways to interact with these things. One of them is like bouncy, one of them can survive in water. He can float and carry other people across, or she, I should say. I think it was a she. But once you're introduced to all these different characters, how they interact, then there's like these strange things that they introduce that sort of change the way these characters work. Where like the blue one can float in water, and then suddenly you go through this barrier, and whoever you are becomes blue, and then they can float in water, and then it's sort of like all these things you've learned and associated with these colors of these characters, and it's just a really good tight game that I would recommend.
I remember watching Vider play it, and I was there, and it was really fun. It's also really cute, like the way he gets narrative, like they give personality to these just like blocks of shapes, and it's adorable.
I think the orange one is like a square, and he can't jump as high as all the others, and he gets grumpy about it. But he has his moment to shine, because certain parts are like the gap is too small and only he can go underneath. It's
Right.
it's so fucking epic, dude. I really like it.
Cool. I think I might have just played a demo, because I don't think I got to like anti-gravity stuff.
You should play it and finish it.
It's a short game, but it's full of good stuff, and it would be
It's
good
just
idea.
enough.
Have any of us worked on anything besides either an RPG maker thing or like a 2D platformer? Anybody
dating
do like
game.
3D running
I worked on a
around?
dating game.
I haven't.
I
done
do
any
3D all the time, just not. Well, I guess it is for the game, because like all the sprites in Azumi are all 3D models, and then they're converted down into low pixel.
I just mean in terms of like movement mechanics, basically. It's a whole
Raises claw.
yeah.
Runaway from
yeah.
Snakes
Runaway
was a
from
fully
Snakes.
3D game.
Oh, that's on a 2D plane. Okay, but I
What?
guess it is.
Not.
No,
It
it's
is not on a 2D plane.
That is, Nate.
Are
Wait,
you
no, you
dumb?
can jump. I forgot you can jump. All right, that's fair. If you couldn't jump, it would be a 2D plane. But,
No.
okay,
There'd be
fair
2D
enough.
movement, but you wouldn't be locked on a 2D plane.
If you couldn't jump, you would be. But I mean, you are not. So okay, I was wrong, but
Well,
I could have been right in
Runaway
another
from
time and
Snakes.
place.
For people who do not know, Runaway from Snakes is part of Belle, the webcomic masterpiece made by me, haha. And it details it is basically one panel in which Punk runs away towards the camera from a bunch of snakes, and she has to keep up. If she lags behind, the snakes get her, and if she falls in the pitfalls in the lava, the lava gets her, and you got to get to the end.
If you played Crash Bandicoot for the PS1, there are levels that
Yeah.
function in a similar way.
Yeah.
Right.
Very much inspired by that, and also that one level in Harry Potter where you're running away from a cave troll, for ages. But
That's the primary inspiration, I assume.
yes, because it's really
You're
funny.
in a cave, kind of.
Yeah. But that was really fun. I mean, obviously, I didn't do any of the programming, but I had to come up with a lot of the ideas. Not that it's difficult to come up with ideas, but also solutions to problems. Like, my brother, he's very much a workhorse. Like, you give him something to do and he will do it very well. But he can't think of, like, ideas himself. He doesn't really know. He prefers being directed, which is really good for me. So, like, him
An
having...
idea guy's dream.
him having, like, the skills to get things working, and my, like, pressure that I put on him, he said after the fact was very helpful, because a lot of the time in school and things, the teacher doesn't constantly breathe down your neck trying to make sure you're getting the thing done. And so it's easy to just not do things if it's your own personal project. Nobody's telling you to do stuff. But I was there, I had my little pen and paper, and I would go off a list of things that I wanted the game to have, and ways I wanted it to move, and he would make adjustments on the fly, and I would just... So there'd be like a whole month, I think, we just sat like in his room, me on the bed behind him, just watching him code and putting it into practice. It was so fucking cool. I want to do something like that again.
Here comes the managerial class justifying their existence, exploiting the labor of the
No,
proletariat.
no, you don't
Oh,
understand.
jeez.
Yeah.
You don't
Exploited
understand.
my labor too. I made a whole model of Pumpkin 3D.
I
and it
paid
looked
you for
fucking
that.
cool. Yeah, you did.
But like, I think it's like, it is interesting how, like, he finds it very difficult to work on his own projects because there's no one telling him to do it all the time. Occasionally, I would like, ask him how he's going, and he's like, I don't know, I'm just sort of like doing this and that. It's like, no, you should. I try and encourage him to work on things, but it's different when it's not my project, because I have less of an incentive to force him.
Sure.
But certain
I know a
people
lot
are
of
like
people like
that.
that.
Certain people like
Yeah.
enjoy the direction.
I think
That's
in order
good.
to kind of have made something that got us noticed to kind of form this group, all of us had to just kind of do stuff at some point.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the separating divide, I think, from people who, I don't know, get out. Not that we're all total failures in most of the things we do, obviously, but an effort was made at one point that got us here.
I'd like to hear about like projects that never came to be for you guys. Like,
I'd be happy to tell you about the history of I've talked about it briefly before, but I can give you the short version of the unnamed musical 2D platformer that me and my buddy John were working on. And, incidentally, this was the thing. In 2013 and 2014, after we'd made... during college, I studied programming and stuff for my career. I was in the game development club. We made a couple of things. We were kind of working on a more finished version of Monochrome that never got released, and sometimes I still think about, like, maybe I'll polish that up and try to get that done now that I'm kind of a better programmer. Then towards the end of college, me and my buddy Rich made Belle independently of the club, submitted it to the contest thing, it didn't win, whatever. And then after college, Rich was off doing stuff. He was the really good programmer, but me and my other friend John decided we wanted to work on a game together. And so we started working on this. It took us a long time to come up with ideas, decide what we were going to do, and eventually we settled on this idea of a 2D platformer, and our gimmick was going to be, we were very much inspired by like Super Meat Boy and stuff. Our thing was, every stage will have a song that is playing. We'll make the music for it, which we made a bunch of. And there will be musical cues on screen that the platforming will be in some way impacted by it in a 2D platforming space based on the musical beat. So the simplest example, like the primary one that's going to be for most of the things, was like there's a little flashing thing on the beat of the song at like the same BPM or whatever. And normally you can run and jump a little bit and do your thing, your little musical note girl that I made some sprites for. I'll see if I can find them. But if you jump on the downbeat, you just jump like twice as high. And so that is the main mechanic that we were exploring. We wanted to make this like satisfying musically. It kind of like DDR, but a platformer was like kind of one of the inspirations
It
for
sounds a
making the
little
game.
bit like
Crypt of the Necrodancer?
what's the
Cave of the Necrodancer.
Crypt of the Necrodancer, yeah.
It is like that, but you know,
in real in like
But a
without grid.
platformer.
yeah, but a platformer. And we made it before they ever made Crypt of the Necrodancer.
yeah.
So thanks for stealing our idea.
Time to sue. Time to litigate. The ultimate capitalist response.
Like,
And on that, I mean, so that was like our one mechanic. There were other mechanics that we wanted to implement. Now, at this point, 2014 was the last time that we worked on it. And I talked to John as I was working. I was like, John, listen, we're a little bit stalled out. I'm going to stop working on this for a bit, and I'm going to go work on a little channel called TBAP. I'm going to go to YouTube for a little bit.
and you never returned.
You know, if that doesn't work out, we'll come back and work on
And
this.
much like Spinell's, John is still sitting in that chair waiting for Nate to return to this day.
I love you, John. Hope everything's good. But I mean, I talk to him all the time, so yeah, he's fine. But yeah, so that's where that died, and like my whole YouTube just took the place. All through college, we played League of Legends. Huge waste of time, but at least I did it with friends. It was fun. Then that got replaced by game development, and then that got replaced by YouTube stuff, and that's been kind of my
So like a steady decline, basically.
straight down the tube, straight down. One day I'll circle back to League of Legends, and then my legend will
yourself
begin.
playing
Go
League
start
of Legends
streaming
in-
League of Legends, and then you really fucking decline.
I do want to
Yeah,
ask, like, did
hopefully.
like your game have like a plot or a story or something? Because
No,
all
I
we've
mean,
been talking
well,
is about
not
mechanics.
really.
I think it was pretty like early in development.
It was early in development. We knew we wanted to be like musically themed. We wanted the main character to be a QT music note girl. And I'm gonna see if I can. I wish I had the designs. I've got like my folders here.
Didn't I make
'cause it
some
was-
like sprites for it?
I
Or I
know
think I
that
might have
did
started
some
working on a
designs.
walk animation and then never
yeah,
finished it.
something like that. Something
all
like
I'm
that.
imagining is like a single note like on a sheet music, but her head is at the top and she's got a fat belly at the bottom with like Rayman arms and legs.
I really want to see if I can find her because she was a QT girl, a QT music note GF, and everyone would have loved her. I think I had a name for her. It was something like some music note pun or something. And, cadence, something like that. And she was going to be wife with. While you guys are talking, I'm going to be digging through my files to see if I can find it. But like, so once we ironed out the general mechanics, then finally I was free to do what I really want to do and what I really enjoy doing with these things: level design. And level design is my favorite part. Once all the hard work of getting mechanics working and stuff, but we were making it using Unity. And Unity is a decent game development engine, but it is like programming intensive and that kind of stuff. It's not like Game Maker. And neither of us were, I mean, we were both like no experience with C# before it. Not that hard to adapt because I knew C++ and stuff in Java okay. But
Why didn't you use Unreal?
You know,
Unreal was C++.
well, frankly, like we just were like, I don't know, what can we do to Google it. First result, Unity. Okay,
fools.
here we go.
You could have been a successful game designer if only you used
To
Unreal.
be fair, I mean, it's true. Like, fucking Undertale was made with like Game Maker, so like
Yeah.
you can obviously have some a bit of an outlier there, but still, we really should have done something with more structure. We could have gotten way further with the project, but like not to bash the guy, but the guy I worked with on Belle, which we made an RPG Maker, Rich. He advised us to use. I mean, it's totally on us, but like he was like, "Hey, you guys should use something like Unity because like." It gives you more programming freedom to do the kind of stuff you want. And like when we were making Belle, he was endlessly frustrated by having to code in like the specific language that
GML.
RPG Maker uses called
no, not-
Ruby
not-
or something. It uses Ruby. I never did any of the coding for it. Okay, I did a little bit here and there, but it was like all him. But he just was like, yeah, I mean, you guys should do this. You should use something that's more open-ended like Unity. You'll have more freedom. It'll be fine. And we did that, and we are so much worse at programming than Rich. Rich is really good at stuff. We are terrible at everything. So that was like our biggest issue, and we made little progress over a lot of time. But God,
And then he left
one
to
day-
start Red Letter Media.
Oh, no.
He went to work for, I think right now, or he might have left, he works literally for Microsoft in their game development studios. I think he works for Microsoft doing something, as far as I remember.
He probably makes Minecraft.
He probably made Minecraft. That's probably fair. So obviously he was a really talented, really good programmer, but he and I didn't work on any project. He actually went to work for like one of those.
We had to put him down.
Had to put him down. He went to work for like a gaming quote unquote, but it was like a gambling app or like a gambling website or something. And he didn't love that, so he left before too long. But he got paid a lot of money. It was a great gig. Anyway, so I mean, my tale ends here with a longing for this is one of these things. It's a little bit like I don't know, Raise These Bros or something. It's a project that I put a lot of time and effort into, and I think about fairly frequently. And if I made some RPG Maker stuff back in the day. None of it was well fleshed out or anything. But this, I made a bunch of levels. We had a good idea. I loved working with my buddy John on it. Maybe one day we'll revive this project if I have some extra time and stuff. But I'll see if I can find any of these visual or like I would love to find a demo for people to be able to play in my files. So I'm gonna go look for that, and I'll let you guys know if I find one. But that's where my game development basically ends. And maybe one day, I was a professional programmer for years. Presumably, I've gotten better at programming. I don't know. So maybe there's hope on the horizon for future
Nate, if
work.
you're gonna get back into game development, you should use Godot. Do you know about Godot?
No, why? What's
Godot
the
is a
purpose?
free open source game engine. It came out a couple years ago, but it's gotten a huge influx of users because it's free and like can do everything, and it's like super big dick. It uses its own programming language called GD script, but it is
one language you know them all. How hard could it be?
It is just
Yeah.
Python with like a few
There you go.
changes. So
I know
like
Python,
if you've been doing nothing but Python, you could probably just slide right in and be like, oh, this is like perfect.
Sounds like the plan for me. If there's to be a revival here,
Because I started Azumi in Godot, but like I started using it and the documentation was just not there for an idiot like me, so I had to run away to something simpler because I wanted to get something done by November 8th last year.
Only question, is it theoretically possible if one devotes a lot of effort to making a game in this engine to like release it and it could be on like Steam or something?
Correct.
'Cause I would want to do
Yes,
that
it can
ahead
release,
of time.
it can
Yeah?
export to
Okay,
anything. And there's no fees, there's nothing. It's open source, completely free, no any of that shit.
Shit, bruh.
Go ham.
All right, well, shit, we'll keep in mind. All right, so that's me. That's my story.
I have.
Mage, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
What's your game? Tell us.
Way back when, the RPG Maker game, I think in like 2013, 2012-ish, I wanted to work on a bit of like a spooky game with RPG Maker. I don't know how to code, but I'm very good at using tutorials, and there were people that were like, hey, you're free to use this script or that script, just, credit me and stuff. Or don't sell the
Oh,
game.
guys, Mage, I'm sorry. Can I interrupt? I'm sorry. I found the sprites. Okay, just take a look. I found my QT music
okay.
note girl. Take a look. Isn't she
Hey.
nice? I made these sprites. I think they're cute. She's got a little music note hair. Okay, that's it. That's all I wanted to say.
But yeah, so people were fine with people using their things so long as they don't use it commercially. And I was gonna make the game free. I didn't particularly care about earning money with it. It was just to test it out, to test the water, see how it goes. And
Wait, who made these sprites?
I think I made them, but I don't know for sure.
Okay.
credit Nate.
Anyway,
That's all I got.
Yeah, and I actually got in quite a bit. Like I did the first area. I think I almost finished it, and then I lost my fucking whole project file. I do have some of the art assets if you want to see really old shitty art of mine for like the character sprites. Not the sprites, but like the images when they talk and stuff. They had expressions.
Character
They had
portraits.
expressions, but
Yeah.
there we
dump
go.
'em.
The three characters that I had made. There were gonna be more, but these were the three main ones. They look like ass, but they are.
No, stop.
And
I think I
my
still have,
friend made the
sprites
cover
from,
for it. It was called Bonds.
Bonds, good. Ben, if you have
good.
art,
I like
dump
that.
it. I'd like to see
I
it.
have some sprites from
Unnamed music note jumper game.
No, from Christian Weston Chandler's Adult Chronicles.
Oh yeah.
Hold on. I can give me a minute to find them.
And you know what? Based on your making of nice sprites in that Christian Weston Chandler game, I think we asked you to make a couple of little sprite things for us in Belle.
I made some items. I made some item sprites. Yeah, there was a
that was
blanket.
cool.
I remember.
I remember that.
Blanket and maybe a couple other things.
You know.
Good times. And Grace made the art, but no offense, Grace, that art was a true nightmare.
It was
a
not
true
that,
nightmare.
It was, yeah.
No offense, but
honestly, she could do better.
She could, even at that time. But we were really under the gun, so we just got what we could get.
I have I don't have anymore, but I used to have a whole cavalcade of multimedia fusion projects that were, you know, I was young and teenager, and so I didn't have a good attention span, so I never really made anything that big, but I do remember a few, like, larger projects where I was really proud of the amount of stuff that was in them. And I was always thinking big. Like, I remember my mum had this, like, this CD that, like, a game factory or whatever, and that was, like, the precursor to multimedia fusion. And she said, you can make games with it. I was like, oh, and immediately I remember the moment well. It was one afternoon after I had just played a really big amount of fucking Dark Cloud on the old CRT, and I love Dark Cloud. It's my favorite game fucking forever, and I was thinking, dude, I could make Dark Cloud. I could make the game I already have, but I could make it. The whole world opened up to me, and so I made a lot of very juvenile, very silly, stupid, badly programmed video games in that thing. But they are all lost to time, and it sucks.
That is too bad.
They're all deleted. Yeah, but there's so many little nuggets of hilarity. Like, some of them were barely games. I know my brother still has his brother who became a programmer later.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So, like, his stuff, it's sort of a window into that era. And there was this one game where there's a potato JPEG on the screen, and there's a music playing. It's like a weird twinkling music, like and what happens is you wave your mouse over the potato, and the potato grows bigger every second that, every frame that your mouse is over it. And as the potato grows, the music pitch increases a tiny fraction. So it goes and it just gets unbelievably huge in the screen.
When you remove your mouse, does it shrink again?
No, it just stays as it is.
Oh, okay.
And it just keeps getting, and then it's like fills the entire screen, and then there's a chomp sound effect, and you eat the potato, and then there's a new potato. That was the sort of video games we made.
That's good.
I honestly feel like that could go in the App Store and, like, do gangbusters.
Yeah, too bad it was all smartphones.
It's never too late, dude. Got to dig that out, export to Cordova, and get it on iPhone.
It's true. Now that I dug up this sprite of Node Curl, and I think I'm going to officially name her QT on this podcast. I'm literally giving her name, QT.
Wow.
I love her, and I want her game to be real. I want to make this happen. Look at the fact that her two legs are, in fact, a double cleft note, or whatever the fucking term is.
I like that.
Yeah, and her arms were designed to look like little note, on the end of those things. And I think the idea was her head was supposed to kind of look like a treble cleft, sort of, but hard to,
I see it.
A little bit.
Her, I would like to see this walk animation, like, in motion.
Okay, see, if I remember correctly, like, the place where we left development was that I was thinking, like, oh my god, this walk animation is horrible. I have to fix it. But I didn't get to it bad.
I can sort of imagine it looking real jerky, like, actually
like, look
moving.
how far the legs are. It's just, like, down below, and then, like, totally, like, leg comically far behind her body or whatever. It doesn't make any sense. Maybe it looks okay. I don't know.
It might be funny. It might be funny. I don't know.
If I can get this fucking thing to run, maybe I'll, I'll let you know. But, I love her. Look at, I'm so proud. This is like the greatest character design I've ever made in my life.
Just hearing you be so happy about your creation, it's really cute.
My OC is better than everyone else's OC. Is my point.
Punk will kill this girl right now.
No. What if they did this epic jam sesh together?
There should be a crossover.
Ooh, someone please make QT real. Draw QT. Make her real. I want that. And do it for free now.
I would like to talk a bit about the story I had for my game, if that's okay.
Sure.
Okay,
sure.
so
Oh,
I'm gonna have to rattle my brain a little bit.
Are bonds going to be a key part of the story?
Like
perhaps?
investment
not
bonds?
investment bonds.
Yeah.
It was if you look at the image that has the word bonds in it, it was like when you start up the game and just like you start a new game, you see that image. There's a wheel and there's like two girls and like one of them is holding a blue thread and it goes through the wheel and it ends up a red thread. The idea was life and death, and the blue one is giving life and the red one is leading the life away, and it's the wheel of life, quite literally, so to speak. And the lore was there are two. There's always like this was before My Little Pony, by the way, so just keep that in mind. Or at least I started making this before I got into My Little Pony. But like there were these two horse girls, but they're literally like humans with like ears and tails of horses, so they're not like ponies or anything. They are in charge of basically life and death itself. Like the blue one gives life and the red one takes life away. Most people had this misconception that like the red one kills people and you know she's actually responsible for people dying, but no, she just ferries away the dead souls from the body to be reincarnated into like towards, and her sister guides the souls to be reborn. So they're just sort of in charge of maintaining the cycle of life. Rather than actually, you know, doing the deeds themselves. And the reason they're horses, I think it was because they were sort of like, because people...
They were based on Keg and Phantom. Two horses running in the wind, running in the wind.
I don't remember the lore exactly, but it was something about like horse carriages leading people, something like that. It's symbolism, I guess. I don't remember exactly. And so the story starts with you playing the blue one, waking up, surprise amnesia, sorta. You don't remember what's up, and people say like, "Oh, hey, you're up. Glad to have you around. Everything is fine." And like when you left, just the way you left us, just like. Feel free to walk around the village, say hi to everyone, so it's all nice and peaceful and everyone's super friendly to you. And you don't know that you're the blue horse. You're just chilling with your friends and stuff. And there are like these two other girls that claim to be like the horses of life and death. And but then slowly you start noticing that things are amiss. Like you find clues towards like something had happened just before you passed out. There's a bit of a ghost following you around, and the thing what actually happened, you were supposed to find out, is that you are the blue horse girl. You are the life, and the plan was of the village. They all got together and decided to get rid of the red horse girl, the death horse girl, and live forever. But they're stupid because that's not how it works. And by getting rid of the red horse girl, getting rid of death means people's spirits don't leave their bodies. And despite the fact that they're dead, their spirits still in their rotting bodies, and they're basically like zombies, and they're in a horrid pain.
This is very like I am 14 and I have big ideas about life and death. Like, dude, death is like so important. People don't even get it, man. They don't even get it. I'm not criticizing you. I have many similar ideas in my youth.
It's fine. I had so much fun with this.
Oh my God! Gibbon made the GIF.
Oh, look at her.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's not as, you know what? It's better than I thought.
She's cute.
It works.
Look at her go. Oh, she's doing. Look at her little arms going.
It works. It works.
Yeah, that does work reasonably well. Damn, impressive.
Needs more frames.
QT, look at you go. Is there like a more musical version of QT? What's like a thing they do? I'm looking for a pun here of some kind. You know,
Bass drop.
bass. QT bass drop. Her full name. Although her head's like a treble
Those are her
clef,
initials.
like...
She's like J.K. Rowling.
Yeah, exactly. That's
It stands
not
for
confirmed
Quentin
canon
Tarantino bass drop.
I don't know much about music notes, but what's it called? Like when it's a silent note, like does it have a name?
Arrest.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's
okay.
just a rest, right?
I didn't know. That's the thing. I don't know much about music.
It's a mystery to me as
What's
well.
that like? What's that squiggly doodle that you start the line with that? Oh,
The
okay,
treble
yeah.
clef?
Yeah, I think that's the treble clef.
Or
that's,
the various kinds of clefs.
Okay.
that
I
denote
remember this from
I was
marching
using
Multiple
those.
band.
things.
I don't know how
Yeah.
they're called. They don't sound cute enough, sadly.
Is the bass clef, the treble clef, and the maybe there's
other
another
one.
clef.
Those
I
are the
think
two
it's just
big
two.
boys. Yeah.
Bass treble and big high pitch.
I do like.
Someone sexualize my daughter,
my
please. Hurry as fast as you can. Sexualize her. This is important.
Would her breasts look like musical notes as well?
Open to interpretation. There has to be give and take on some points, I
Okay.
assume, for Max sexualization. Unless you're into that. What if you're musicosexual? Then I guess it's all good. It's all good. I mean, shit, bro. I mean, I'm out of fucking projects.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, I could talk about games I want to make. Because
Here comes the idea guy stomping into town.
I'm stomping into town. Look, I have the luxury of being an idea guy because that is my best talent. I have
Yeah,
the best
all right.
ideas.
That's true.
Right. My favorite thing, I was thinking about this the other day. If I were to make a game, I'm a lot more like analytical than I used to be, and when it comes to like creating things, I ask questions of like, why would I put that in there, rather than just like going on instinct for like genre savvy, like, oh, things that are this way usually have this sort of stuff in them. Let's just put that in it. Like, I like to ask the questions. Like, if I were to make a game, what would the point be? Like, I like collectathons. I like running around in a 3D world and jumping on platforms. But, like, why do I like that? And I think, based on the games I've played, I think my favorite sort of thing would be Jak and Daxter, because of the way the animation is, like, so satisfying to have your character move around. The platforming's very simple, the gameplay is very simple, but it's just fun to be Jak and jumping. So, like, if I were to make a game, it would be one of my characters, really animated very well in 3D, jumping around in a 3D place. And from there, I guess game mechanics would come, but I don't really have, like, a desire to make like a specific sort of gaming experience beyond the core appeal, which is that. So, like, I'm thinking, like, maybe, like, using the punk model or, like, updating it so that it can have, like, more joints or whatever it needs. So that I could have a punk game where you just run around and you collect fucking triangles, because it doesn't matter what it is.
She can breathe fire on some things. That's
Yeah,
like
she
her
can.
thing
It could
she
basically
does.
like Spyro the Dragon, but like a biped.
Oh,
So
that'd
she
be
runs.
cool.
She runs around.
But what if
breathing
she's like that
fire.
horse girl who runs around on all fours as you play through the game? Now that sounds epic.
No, it's not canon. She doesn't do that, guys.
Allie can ride on her back for those segments and, hack the
Pumpkin-
mainframe.
It'll be Pumpkin Alley Oop, the duo, right? Like Banjo
Like
and Kazooie.
Banjo and Kazooie, Jak and Daxter.
Yeah,
you
she
know.
can use Alley Oop as a basketball to attack enemies.
Yeah.
She throw 'em. It's like all sorts of fun things. I also had this idea that never came of anything, but it was sort of like you're a little robot, spheroid robot, and you have like a grappling hook, and you sort of roll around with a physics engine on like a skate park, and you use the grappling hook to swing yourself around like Spider-Man. So it would be like a combination of like Super Monkey Ball, Spider-Man, and Tony Hawk. And I was just thinking how fun that would be, just fling yourself all over the place, just get so many points and smash into things and roll around. That's my life. That's my life in the future.
does sound like a lot of fun. By the way, I'm sorry. This just reminded me. This isn't anything any of us have done, but your brother made world famous video game Road Toads. And
yes.
that game is fucking the shit, and has the greatest trailer of any video game. I just linked. It's so everyone. It's in the description. Go watch it. Play Road Toads. It's fucking sick. That's all there is to say about it. It's Road Toads, boys. Go do it.
It's Road Toads. There's a few cutscenes. I don't know whether I mentioned this, but he came up with Road Toads and the idea of I don't think he's gonna like properly finish this game. He might like remake it and properly finish it.
Sure.
But
good old Charlie.
he had this idea where the road toads, the reason there are road toads and driving around is because they are a part of like an experiment to find the perfect toad that can survive any car crash.
The year is 10,000 AD. Car crashes have eliminated 95% of the human population.
Car crashes have become the new currency of our society.
It was very esoteric and very meta, and sort of like you would zoom out of like the gameplay, and there'd be like these big talking heads talking about like secretive things. I think there's a cutscene like that in the build at the moment. And people said, "Oh yeah, it's like Frog Fractions. You know, it starts off as one thing and it turns into something else." And he was like, "What's Frog Fractions?" It was a complete coincidence. They came up with like a frog toad based meta story for a stupid game that was really funny and fun and great.
Yeah, it is.
But it doesn't like change like Frog Fractions does.
Well, the things he was telling me makes it seem like it would change. Like it would stop being about being on the road and become something else. And I was like, oh, that's like this.
So
like,
you're saying so there was more planned for Road Toads, is what you're saying. Yeah.
Literally just call it Road Toads Frog Fractions 3, and no one will object. No one will have a problem with that.
You know,
I hope he does
sold.
It's
Yeah,
Frog
he's really
Fractions
good.
because you get cut in half in a terrifying mutilated
it's
car
just like that
accident.
album Best of the Beatles, which is Pete Best's songs. It has no relationship to Beatles music, but he was
it's
in
best,
the Beatles
best
previously.
of the Beatles.
That's correct. That's correct.
Now he was the drummer before Ringo, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Poor Best.
Lamau.
Yeah. My brother, he's got lots of like little game ideas. I won't spoil too many of them. Only the most lucrative ones, so other people can make them, and he will be destroyed. I forgot all of them.
Well,
for
no
him.
matter. We're looking forward to him. He's not on the PCP, so we can get the fuck out of here with this bullshit. Chaz,
I just
you're a
remembered.
legend, mate.
Remembered I did that fucking making a game in a day thing.
Oh my god, that's Hippo Tries Not to Die, or whatever.
Hippo Tries
of
Not to
course.
Die.
You know,
Oh,
Gib, I
right.
gotta tell you, for me
Right.
and Mathva 2, I thought I would try to emulate that and make a game in a day. I was too pussy chicken shit to give it a shot. Too fucking
fool.
scared and pooping in my pants. I was like, I can't do it. I'm not as cool as Gib. Also, I did have to work that day, but nonetheless, I was a pussy, and you are a legend.
I mean, it was so cool because like and
then Oblivion's, of course,
I had
addition
never-
of that into the
yeah. Like
animation.
I had made the thing, and the video itself is like, it was so much like nothing interesting happening. I was like, I gotta cut so much of this, and it's still gonna be really long. So the video isn't much, but the game is pretty fun for what it is, and I was proud that I did it.
Yeah.
And that I also made a video about it
The
in
meme
the same
potential,
day.
man. The meme, like, it doesn't matter. Like, Road Toads, great meme. Great meme. It just came with
Yeah.
Road Toads. Doesn't matter. It's hilarious. Love it. Let the people do their work and make it a meme, I say.
And then fucking Oblivion Fall, the Chad genius he is, took that and put it into a fucking animation, like as a like a few. It was like a whole like transitional part where the shitty skulls I drew shooting fire, and Hippo were animated in this Cuphead, Five Nights at Freddy's like crossover animation. It's just so fucking sick. I like that so much.
It's a Cuphead, Five Nights at Freddy's, Hippocrit.
Yeah.
I Googled it. I'm trying to find
the
the
most
video.
ambitious crossover event of all time.
There's all the fucking speed runs people played of this fucking game. Oh, this one's this is by Sigh, Deep Sigh of Relief. A 7.35 second world record speed run. Oh, impressive. I can't
Hippo
find your
Tries Not to
video,
Die.
but I found this one at least. I'm sure it's out
Speedrunning,
there.
it's
Yeah.
easy. It's getting high scores that's the hard part. part.
Oh,
if
yeah?
I remember, because you can just get lucky sometimes and just kind of blast to the bottom at max speed without hitting anything.
But how do you get that extra 0.01 second above the competition? That's the tricky part. That's what
yeah.
separates the boys from the men, Ben. Look it up sometime.
You got to use the Pythagorean theorem for that shit.
Let's find those videos if we can.
Do you remember the game? Did Sheepover make the game?
Yeah. Fuck.
It was
SheepCon?
SheepCon, Sheepover
Goes to
game.
SheepCon, I think. It was like about her going
Yeah.
to SheepCon, I think.
I think it was just called Sheep Game.
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
okay.
My other brother, HGB guy, speedran that game.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Fuck,
I
that
think
was
he had the
sick.
world record for a bit.
Damn.
Alas, they snatched it away from him, like everything else.
I should try and speedrun Atominous. It's been long enough since I played Atominous. I think I should try speedrunning it.
it was
I wonder
interesting.
how fast you
I've
can get
forgotten
through
where the
that
things
game.
are.
It was interesting when I played Atominous on twitch.tv/Saint Comics. I don't know why I'm shilling for the 100 people that watch the bonus episodes, but whatever. When I did Atominous, there was I think I died or I lost or something, and I had a glitch, and Devu was in the stream, and he was like, okay, this happened sometime. Here, I know how to fix this. And he went and sort of recreated a save file, gave it to me, and was like, here, load this. And it was because I had respawned in a place where I had gotten certain items and not other ones, and it made it I respawned in a place where an area was blocked and I couldn't proceed. And the save file that he gave me, it was funny. I looked at the actual file, and it was just a text file that just contained a bunch of words separated by semicolons. That was the only state that the game tracked was which things do you have.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So he basically just deleted the last thing I got and was like, okay, here now, don't do them in that order. Do them.
Is
in a
it
different
kosher
order.
to speedrun the game by turning it on, turning it off, editing that file so you
How
have
fast
everything?
can you copy paste the text?
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, the ending of Atominous is so fucking cool.
I can't remember.
I love it.
Should we spoil it? I can't remember how it ends.
I'll fucking spoil it.
I'll say that there's the railings that you have to go through that no one else is queuing in.
Well,
It
there's
gets
that's
progressively
right.
longer.
And then
All
you
that
go
shit.
into
There's a thing at the end too.
The
yeah.
final. It's visually spectacular. It
I did
exceeded
not
my
expect-
expectations by so much.
But based on playing through that game, I did not expect it to have the level of I don't know, extra there was just more oomph in that whole section. It was timed, and there was intensity, and I mean, what a great finale that was. It was super
my God.
satisfying. What a great game.
I
Hope he
still
makes
get
another one
fucking
soon.
Heart
I think-
palpitations.
I think we can all agree that
What?
Oh, sorry, Gabe. I
Hello?
think you cut out. What can we all agree
Completely
on?
cut out. What can we all agree on?
I want to know so
We're
bad.
never gonna learn.
Let's argue about what we
We
can
all
all
can
agree
agree
on.
on that this tension needs to be diffused already.
He's back.
Okay, all right, go on.
I think we can all agree that Devu's game very much feels like a professional thing that is not associated with a podcast person.
A low budget one, like
Sure.
a
Like,
simple
fe-
made
it
one.
fe- I mean, it
Absolutely,
feels- it's
absolutely.
polished to a point where it's you wouldn't think this is you
Oh,
would
yeah.
think this is just
Just
a
some
new
fucko.
new indie developer making their debut. This is a proper thing.
Yes,
And it was very
yes,
impressive, and I
absolutely.
really liked it.
For sure.
I mean,
I mean, the thing I made,
PCP
Hippo
related
Tries Not to Die, is
specifically.
very much what the fuck is this? You need context.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
kinda.
again, you made that in a day. He worked on that for at least months, if not years.
I might have
can't
been.
remember.
I think it was over a year, maybe. It was around that.
Yeah, I think around that much. And I suppose it's fair to ask, is that sustainable? But I think what one would hope is that the pathway to success, I would imagine, is you make games of this quality. It's kind of the same as I don't know, being a YouTuber or anything. You try to do good stuff in your off time until you are just able to either get a hit or just build up generic interest and support financially or otherwise in your work, so that you're okay, I guess now this is my job, and now I can live off of this somehow eventually when you're at that point. And I mean, great product there. So. Presumably that could happen eventually. I hope he's working on his next thing. I literally do not know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe that's kind of probably bad for the plan you were just talking about of longevity. If nobody even knows if you're alive, let alone what you're working on.
But what if theoretically he just comes out and dumps, the next game that's
Like Toby
equally
Fox.
good in a different way or something?
I don't
And it's,
know
took
if
a
that's
year
really
or two.
functional nowadays.
It's-
you know,
well,
like unless it's
Well,
It
yeah.
works if there's hype built around, like, if you're thinking of someone who just dumps a great game and then disappears. Obvious, like, inspiration for Devu was Toby Fox with Undertale, but he had a following
Yeah.
and a Kickstarter and hype built before
Right.
that even came
you
out.
can't just drop it out of nowhere.
It has to.
Well, that's-
yeah.
that's
Atominous was like briefly advertised on Digi's channel, and I don't think like
On the PCP.
and on the PCP. But Devu,
We
I
talked-
think
we talked about it on
I
the
don't think
PCP and
Devu was
stuff.
here, like talking about it himself. I think it was us.
no.
We to this day, I always said, I hope Devu's on soon so we can tell him how much we love his game, and he never showed
He
up.
kept the specifics of Atominous like pretty close to the chest, I think, before he dropped it.
Yeah.
I don't blame him. I don't blame
Yeah.
him.
You
But,
gotta be available.
just have to show.
You gotta be known.
You, just
gotta
gotta
be out
You gotta
there.
be visible. Yeah.
You definitely need to be visible if you wanna make it in this dog eat dog world.
I mean,
of game
if you dabble in game dev circles, everybody's always super fucking negative, and it drives me crazy. But they're just like, the indie apocalypse is here. No one can make money anymore. You have to like sell your soul in order to get anything done. No indie games make money anymore. It's just like,
I mean,
So
that's just
Tom
it. That's just
recently
anything.
released. I mean, that's true. Tom recently released to his patrons and shared with me and I think the rest of the group here a absolutely wonderful video, just shitting on everyone, being a whiny little bitch about like I can't make it doing my fucking project. Why doesn't the world just like give me everything I need so I can like be an artist because like I deserve that. You know. Sure, that'd be nice if that was the case, but it's not. So, I mean, and Tom isn't just saying you're a whiny little bitch, you're like that. It's like, well, there are actually practical steps you could probably take to improve yourself. So don't just be a sad sack.
Yeah.
You know, there's things you can exercise, muscles to
It's-
be
I
exercised.
feel
to
like,
improve
though,
and
I
avenues
feel
to
like
take.
You know, if we
personally
had-
I need
if we had a
more
more-
of that. Like
If we had a more robust social safety net, more people would probably have the resources at their hand to pursue passion projects like that.
True,
But don't
but
we
we
have
don't.
enough passion projects? We've
I
got
don't.
plenty as far as I'm
No,
concerned.
I wouldn't
never
say
have.
we do.
I mean,
personally.
everything
Maybe
I'm
not.
working on
Maybe
is
not.
a passion project, but like I don't whine about like Bale Jape not being super popular. I mean, it's there's a level beyond which something, or like before which something doesn't seem like it would be good. Like a lot of people told me after they had read Bale Jape that they had no idea it was actually good because of how it looked. But like,
I see. Okay.
well, I mean,
it really needs marketing,
yeah,
I guess. That's good
but
to
like
know.
I never feel too stressed about trying to market and make it a big thing because I'm always thinking, well, that was just a practice. Everything I do is a practice. I just make the thing that I want to make and I make it as good as I can, and then I move on to the next thing. And I sort of forego the whole making it big at any point. Like I feel it's always down the road that I will make it big in my head.
Yeah.
Probably at some point it's good to change.
I
tack
always
and
I always
make it
feel
a-
like I'm making something and I spend time on it and I finish it and I put it out there, and I always have the thought like, even if like this isn't popular, nobody sees this, like one day when I'm more known, like people will go back and see it.
Yeah.
And like then maybe it
Yeah,
will be
sure.
appreciated. Sad.
Yeah, I think we all think that to a degree.
Yeah.
About some of the stuff we make.
I have one game I also want to talk about quickly. When I was a baby, like 13, 14, I was working on my very first comic. Just around the time of starting to learn how to digitally draw. I didn't even have my tablet. I wanted
You draw with a mouse.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
nice,
I
nice.
drew with a mouse.
That's
it
what I
looked
do.
it looked like shit though.
Can we see it?
But yeah, I will show you in just a second. It was like
sick.
it was a dating game based on the comic I was drawing at the time, and it was just in an alternate universe where everyone went to school because of course it's a dating game. Where else would it be
Of
set?
course.
So this is the only image that survived of
Oh
the
my
art.
god.
damn.
Hell yeah.
Oh my god.
That seems like that's like a screenshot that's an embodiment of an era. Just look at it.
Yeah,
Windows
it's
XP,
away.
weird like amateur anime. Is there nothing more 2004 than that image right there?
the gradients and the backgrounds.
It bleeds early 2000s energy.
Yeah.
Dude,
love
what's
it.
cooking?
I don't
it
even
looks
remember
it looks
which
like My
program I
Life
used.
Me. If anyone remembers My Life Me, my
No. I do
favorite
not.
show.
Is that the one with the girl? No. Okay,
Yeah,
never
Birch,
mind.
the goth girl, and it's in like
Googling
it's set in a Canadian high school, and it's her and her quote unquote pod mates, because apparently in Canada, Canadian
Right,
school
of course.
groups, kids are organized into quote unquote pods that all like have to do projects together or something.
Mage.
Yo, check
Mage.
this
And
out.
it looks
Just
like
look at My
shitty
Life,
like
Mate.
American how to draw manga.
It's beautiful.
Mage.
It's
Is
good.
that red-haired girl wearing a yaoi shirt?
Yeah, that's it. That's
that
My
is
Life
not
Me.
a girl.
Oh, it's a.
Oh, it's a boy. Ooh, that's.
See, look,
Yeah.
Now that's
he's
a
got
gay
the
boy.
fucking. He's got the fucking
he
two
is.
dudes symbol. You fucking.
No, I
nerd.
thought it was.
Oh my
Yeah, this isn't the same character, by the way. That's quite the glow up in a few years.
Damn. That's what you got to do is
Oh.
draw those again memes to get all the retweets.
I
Mage, if you
thought it
haven't
was.
already.
I thought it was Hoshi.
Dude, back to school.
Yes.
I thought that looked like
Wow.
proto Hoshi.
It was.
Yeah. Am I
Oh,
good or
Hoshi.
what?
Oh, that's wonderful. I mean, I too thought that was a girl, but
Yeah,
I see my
you
hair
guys
on my waist
you guys
now.
are on.
I
You
understand.
guys are low tier.
It's 100% because the shoulder was exposed. I just assumed that was like a girl thing, but
Look,
no,
you can
I was
see his
wrong.
bicep. Girls don't even
Okay,
have
looking
biceps.
at it now, I get that. I get it. I get it. There was like some shading under the chest. That could have been an expression of
Girls
some tits.
don't
Oh,
have
but like
biceps.
guys can have like a protruding chest because muscles.
Exactly. You see, look at Hoshi down below. He's oh wait. Okay, no, never mind.
He's
I get
literally
your point.
got tits.
He
Got
meant
fucking
it.
muscle tits. Yeah.
I'm
Muscle
I'm
cleavage.
just saying, My Life Me, that girl on the right, I like that design. The others are terrible on the left. I like the one on the right. She's cute.
I
I'd
vaguely-
hang out with her.
I vaguely
I'd
remember
drink
My Life Me
Pepsi
existed.
Crystal with her.
Not Crystal Pepsi, a Pepsi Crystal that is crystallized in the fridge.
out of my crystal goblet.
Oh,
well,
Aesthetic.
Did she
game
go
development?
On to,
I,
did she
I
go on
am
to die?
I'm always envious of people who have anime OCs that span many decades.
it
Yeah.
is cool. Like
really wish I
what's her
got
face
into
from
that.
that new Has-Been Hotel? Fucking
Right, Alistair.
Lucifer
Radio,
or
Alistair, right?
Alistair. That
The
guy.
only OCs
So
I
nice.
had were like, well, actually, I guess one of them looks like Redman, as he is now with this red noir coat. But he was just sort of like a mishmash of other things I had seen and wasn't really that unique. He was just a ninja with no face because I didn't like drawing
Ninjas are
faces.
always cool though.
Yeah, but like
I got Phantom
there's
Horn. Obviously,
there's something like
Mm-hmm.
cool. There's something strangely cool about really shit anime art that I never tried myself. The only thing I ever tried
I
was
know
to draw
what- I know
myself
what you
as like
mean.
in a Lucky Star style, I think, which was pretty good.
Oh,
I know what
Lucky
you
Star.
mean, and that makes me think of CCC City. You guys know CCC City?
No.
I don't think so.
CCC City is an old like Newgrounds Flash series. It's only like maybe 5 or 6 or 7 videos, but their animations. Oh fuck! I forget the name of the guy who made them. But they're animations about like stuff going on in this like fictional like giant like anime city, and it's just like cool dudes in like adventuring gear. It's like everyone is like a weird like RPG character mishmash, and they just do stuff. They just like cool shit happens, and I don't know. But it's drawn in a very okay. You remember that old animation of the guys playing DDR and it jump on the ground, jump,
Yes,
jump,
yes,
jump, jump,
yes,
moving
I
on
know.
Not
around.
immediately, but okay.
Well, it's drawn in that way. It's drawn in that like shitty early Newgrounds pseudo anime style. It looks like fucking
Aw.
Dominic Deegan or whatever. But unlike everything else done that way, CCC City is actually awesome. So there you
Looking it
go.
up right now.
Well, this character design of Mage's here is awesome. I mean, just as it originally was presented in Outlaw Star, as literally
Yeah.
Gene,
Gene
whatever his
Starwood.
name is, literally red hair, star tattoo on the same shoulder, same vest thing going on. Ooh, that's a big oof right there.
No.
But I
I
forgive
never
you.
seen this before.
You've never seen Outlaw Star? That's
No.
shocking.
What?
Shocking.
It's good.
It was
Well, no
heavily
matter.
promoted on Adult Swim.
It sure was.
I'm not American, mind you.
Okay.
Well, that's
I
your first
forgive you
mistake
for that,
right there.
But you are a Japanese.
All right,
if
boys.
only.
We've been talking about game development for far too long.
Never.
and we're
Yeah,
going-
how much-
to anime.
How much could there possibly be to say?
Yeah,
I
it's a
think
pretty
we've
simple
covered
topic.
everything.
Games, they get made. That's good.
Everybody who's on the fence should try and make a game. There's no reason you can't nowadays. If my dumb, retarded ass can use a baby game engine to make a game that looks still presentable, there's no excuse why you can't either. Go get Construct 3, go get G-Develop 5. It's completely free.
These
and
programs
no
are
code.
tools. They are designed to be usable by like anyone.
I definitely
like they're made
want
to be accessible.
To make a walk around, like an early Homestuck, like walk around talking to characters thing for one of my comics. I think that would be really cute.
Do it.
Oh yeah.
G-Develop 5. It's free.
Cute.
Huh? So say that again.
Also watch CCC
Get
City.
G-Develop 5. It's free and it's no code and it's super easy to use.
G-Develop.
Everybody download it.
G-Develop.
Yes, G-Develop. One word.
Game develop.
Fuck
I get
yeah!
it.
And also, hey, if you're a developer, we are join the fucking
PCP dating sim.
I was well yeah, the PCP the
yeah,
PCP
hope those
dating
work
sim's
out.
coming out on
Yeah.
Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day 2020.
I hadn't been
nice.
paying attention. I'm amazed. I'm super stoked for it.
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
Is that going to be the full release? Is that the plan? Is that like,
Yeah, I think so.
Damn.
I'm pretty sure.
God
damn?
damn.
Well,
I can't
hopefully
wait.
there'll be DLC.
I can't wait to smooch Endless War.
That would be nice.
I was gonna say people should if you're fucking up to the task and you got ambitions, we have a it's not entirely like open source or anything, but like we have a server for the Endless War developers where like there's like a clutch of like, you know, a dozen people in there who are all like kind of just contributing their own stuff and working on projects together. I don't know, maybe like message me on Discord or something, or Munchie if you want to fucking maybe jump into that.
Is that a good
possibly.
place to cut
If
your teeth, or is it just sort of everyone's doing their own thing?
Don't come in if you have no clue what you're doing. Like, don't come in if it's like, oh, I've been thinking about learning to program, and I thought maybe this would be... No, like, fuck off.
Hey, anybody out there, if you want to like develop this music note platforming game, okay, but here's the thing: you have to do exactly what I say, like on my schedule, and I'm gonna need you to like know the things that you need to ask me for, but then also know the things that you should just do so you're not bothering me. Then I can totally give you permission. Also, this is gonna be definitely pro bono, so just keep that all in mind, and just be the best programmer in the world. That's a minimum entry fee. But you'll get tons of experience and exposure.
Tons of exposure.
So that'd be
dude.
nice.
You'll be rich with
I'll
exposure.
expose you before your
Exactly.
peers.
All right, we're done. That's it. Thanks for being here, everybody. If I can find a workable demo of my game, I'll post in the description. But so take a peek if you see that there.
The
But if not,
description's gonna be flooded with links at this point.
it is going to be flooded. That's absolutely true. So pick and choose your favorites and go play some of these games because many of them are available, and you can go play at your leisure. So find something interesting. All right, we're out of here. See you next time. Bye.
Peace out, my bros.